Steel Magnolias feels like a Phil movie, right?
It is one of my favorite films of all time.
I was about to say.
I have seen it maybe more than most movies. I quote it all the time. My senior project for undergrad was directing the play in Pennsylvania, where if you do it in down south, that's kind of, like, oh, great. Yeah, another Southern production of, Steel Magnolias, but in Western Pennsylvania, it's not quite as overdone.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love everything about that movie. I love it so much. So yes, nailed it on the head. That is one of my favorites.
Yep. Yeah. It has a heck of a cast.
It's a great cast. The dialogue is so sharp and funny and poignant. And also, I think for me personally, I know every one of those women. I am related to every one of those women.
Yeah.
One of them is my aunt. One of them is my grandmother. Like, I know these people. And Robert Harling did such a good job of translating that kind of Southern culture of manners and rudeness all at the same time together. It's just love it.
Yeah. Oh, and it's got Dylan McDermott in it.
Sure does.
Part of my favorite game of Dylan McDermott or Dermot Mulroney.
My wife was playing that today. She was watching a romantic comedy. She went, all right, Dylan McDermott or Dermot Mulroney. And I went, that's No, that's Dermot Mulroney. Actually, that's a thing.
What's funny is they don't look alike, but
no, they don't look alike. They don't really play the same kind of characters.
They don't play the same characters, but they overlap enough in the same genres.
Yes, exactly.
They appear in the same types of movie, even though as different characters. Like one is the ex-boyfriend and one is the love interest. The soon-to-be boyfriend.
Absolutely.
Which one is which?
The ex.
I don't know. I would have to actually have like their pictures with their names under them to remember.
I want to say, which one is now fucked up? Which one is in Steel Magnolias?
Dermot Mulroney. No. Dylan McDermott's in Steel Magnolias. He's the one that is the soon-to-be boyfriend, I would say.
I was just going to say Dermot Mulroney is the ex.
Dermot Mulroney is like the sarcastic ex. Like Dermot Mulroney. Okay, so Dermot Mulroney is a funnier actor.
Yes. Yeah. Dylan McDermott is more of a straight face.
Yeah.
He plays a lot of lawyers. They both do, but you know what I mean.
You know what else is Dermot Mulroney?
What's that?
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Pixel It. My name is Kevin. With me, as always, is Phil. And on today's show, we are talking Dylan McDermott and Dermot Mulroney for the next hour.
Strap in, folks.
Listen up.
We're going to cover some uncut ground here.
But is it Dylan? Is it Dermot? Is it McDermott? Is it Mulroney?
Is it Mickey Rooney?
Is it Mickey Rooney or Mickey Rourke?
Oh, shit.
That's
the follow-up.
Mickey or Mickey?
Both of them very problematic men in their own ways.
Very problematic men. And you saw Mickey Rooney in what's it? The fucking Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's like that movie would be like a perfect movie if you were able to like go back in time and say, listen, you don't need this part.
We don't need this.
We don't need this part.
No, and it's not, and I've read the novella that it's based on. It's not that kind of character either. Like, Truman Capote didn't write this crazy racist Japanese landlord. It was just a character that they amped up for the film.
They're like, you know what this movie needs is prejudice. Is prejudice. It needs Mickey Rooney or Rourke.
Mickey Rooney
in Yellowface, fucking really just gonna. We're not talking about this today. We're actually talking about.
We're talking about something else.
We're talking about something else. We're talking about Fable.
Fable.
Over the edge of the world and under
edge
it.
Edge of the world.
Over the hedge.
Found there. Yeah, over the hedge. Exactly. Yeah.
By Christie Golden.
Christie Golden.
No relation to Golden Books.
None whatsoever.
None. But before we get too far into going over the hedge, you know where I like to go to when I'm over the hedge is I like to go to a website called patreon.com/pixelitpod. Hey now.
Yeah, what can you find at a website such as this?
Oh, it's like patreon.com/pixelitpod. The things you can find.
Oh, the things you can find.
Yes, you can find, let's see. You can find. I'm vamping until we get. I get to the list of the people that pay for our the tiers. There's the tiers. There we go. Anyway, yes. So that you can find 3 tiers there. You can find 3 tiers, and it's $1, $5, $10. And if you're on the paid tier starting at $1, you get access to things like Phil's little book blog where he talks about books. He talks about books that he likes, books that he hates, and everything in between. 3 out of 5 stars, 2 out of 5 stars, 5 out of 5 stars.
5 out of 5 stars, I think.
I'm not sure if he's ever rated something 5 out of 5 on that series called What Are You Reading? But yeah, for $1 a month, you can get access to that. And you can add those books to your wish list for hold at the library, because that's a good place to get recommendations.
That is a great place to go. Yes.
But for $5, you gain access to the ad-free feed, and for $10, you gain access to your screen name and your preferred nom de online gear.
It's good. It's good.
Thank you.
Your online war. which if you're online, it's a war. Let's
online nom de guerre. Nom de what would be the French transliteration of the phrase if we're talking about
screen name? Nom de screen.
Nom de. I don't know any French, so
nom de écran. No, but that's like a screen, like a screen door. Kind of
nom de éclair.
Yes. Hold on, I gotta find this out. Now this is gonna drive me crazy. Computer screen, écran de ordinateur. Wow, that's way more words than I expected. It's écran de ordinateur. Nom de écran de ordinateur.
So nom de online gear is you get it read off, and so I would like to read off the folks that have been supporting us at the $10 a month tier: Ruthless Mutter, Kyle Seaman, Jesus Loves You, and Friendly Friend.
Friendly Friends, we love you.
Thank you so much for being our friends. Go to patreon.com/pixelitpod and join today. There's a free one. I forgot to say the free one.
Yeah,
there's a free one. You can just join for free.
You can just join for free. You can just hang out.
Find the link to our Discord and go on there. It's free. Get on the Discord.
I found the one that I wrote a 5-star review for.
Oh, what was it?
It was the Talos site.
Oh yeah. Well, you want to read the review? You got.
Yep. Yeah, you can read it and you can join us, and you can pay $1 like everybody else.
Pay $1 like everybody else. You can't just stand there in the history section of Barnes and Noble reading your comic books that you brought up there out of.
Those people are despicable. I
fear.
hate them. They are the reason that capitalism is screeching to a halt right now.
Yeah.
Them and them alone.
Them and them alone. People who read at Barnes and Noble.
Ugh, disgusting.
What is this? A library?
Come on now. And libraries have comics now. Did you know that?
Libraries have board games now.
Dude, it's crazy. I had no idea that they were so cool now. So
yeah, all snark aside, go support your local public library. You can get your local library card, and then you can get access to their digital catalog. So if you're not a person who, let's say you're like me, and you take books out, and then you forget that you had the book out, and then your library's like, hey, we're charging you to replace the book because you never brought it back. Or you could just use the digital. I know there's some shenanigans with like digital loans with libraries, not to get too political here, but the publishers really fucking suck. And it's Reagan's fault. So
I mean, that's a good rule of thumb. If something's wrong, you can probably dial it back to Reagan and it'll be fine.
So we're talking about Fable over the hedge.
We're talking about Fable, and Fable, the source material, if you will, comes from a series of video games, a franchise that were developed starting in 2003, I want to say. Yeah, hold on. I should have actually had that. 2004. I was very close. 2004. And they were developed by Peter Molyneux and his team at
Bullfrog?
Bullfrog. It was Big Blue Box, Lionhead Studios, and later some other people picked it up. But it was a Molyneux game, in the sense, I mean that in every sense of the word, in the sense that it was strange, it was fun, it was trying to push some boundaries, and he way overpromised everything.
He overpromised everything and underdelivered on literally all of those same things.
On everything. This was a game.
It's like, it's not even that like. And the degree to which Molyneux, if you've never played a Peter Molyneux game, the gap between over and under, it's not like a little bit. It's like, oh, they just didn't do it. It's like every game he's done has been some sort, like No Man's Sky, right? That was a clear case of overpromised, underdelivered, but they got there, and actually they are way beyond the expectations of the original promising. Now they have just kept dumping content into the game for free. Yeah, but that's aside. Every Peter Molyneux game is a fresh No Man's Sky.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd go that far. Well, no, actually, I would. I think you're right on a certain level, in the sense that I think that the thing that this has the most in common with No Man's Sky is that the Fable games in particular, and I liked a couple of his other games like Black and White and blanking on the other ones, but I really enjoyed them, and I enjoyed Fable despite the fact that, for example, he was like, one day in this game, you'll be able to plant an acorn, and later you'll go back to where you planted that acorn, and there'll be a tree that's grown. It's like, no, nothing like that. And the shame of it is, just like the shame of the overpromise on No Man's Sky, is that when you get past all that disappointment, all three of the base Fable games are actually pretty serviceable 6 to 7 out of 10 action RPGs. They're good. They're fun. They don't have much in the way of. I think the universe that they're in has an interesting sense of humor, and it has kind of an old English style of fairy tale kind of quality to it.
Right.
But it doesn't. None of that matters. It's just a fun, serviceable little action RPG, and it's just every last one of them had the same instance of him going, no, but this time you're going to be able to, like the third one, which is the one that this particular book takes place 10 years after. The big thing was you're going to have a kingdom, and you're going to be able to rule this kingdom, and you're going to all the decisions you make are going to have huge consequences on the king. And it comes down to 7 or 8 moments in the late stage of the game where they're like, well, do you want to help this guy or do you want to help that guy? And if you help this guy, we'll get more soldiers. If you help this guy, we'll get more. That's it. There's nothing that's happened in any of these games that hasn't happened before.
So Molyneux's background prior to Fable is simulation / god games, right?
Yeah.
So you got Black and White, you got Dungeon Keeper, which is one of your favorites, I think.
Yep,
right?
Yep.
Populous.
Populous was his big first.
Right.
Big, I don't want to say.
Yeah, and around the time of Fable, he also has a movie, a game called The Movies.
Yes, which I also played and which was deeply underwhelming. Yeah. I've played a lot of his games. That's the thing. I've played a ton of his games.
Way too many Peter Molyneux games to end up, be like, okay, well, maybe next time, buddy.
Yeah. No, and I think the thing for Fable, and it brings us to this book, is that it is if there was an action RPG form of bullet time, Fables 1, 2, and 3 would all have separate episodes because it's just it's fine. It's fine.
Right.
And it's fine. And it's just overshadowed by how much bullshit he promised. If he had just been like, yeah, we're working on a really fun RPG and it has kind of a naughty sense of humor and you'll be able to be a warrior or a wizard or whatever you want.
You can be a hero, you can be a villain.
Sure. Yeah. That'll be fun, won't it? And I'd be like, here's my $60. I'm in. That sounds great. And it probably would have done a lot better if he had just kept his goddamn mouth shut. The thing that Fable as a universe and as a franchise that it doesn't really have is a universe that begs to be expanded upon. The thing about Fable that is so enjoyable is it kind of harkens back to older video games where as a kid you're meant to like envision yourself in this role. I'm the king, I'm the hero, I'm this faceless hero, that's me. And Fable does that very, very well. That does not work when you're trying to create a much larger world and a lore. It doesn't. Yeah,
like I think I remember I played Fable. I never played Fable 3. I played Fable 1 and 2. And I remember really liking them. Like, they were really fun games. And I probably replayed them a few times because that's just kind of what you did back in college. I was in college. I thought I was a kid. I wasn't a kid. I was in college, Phil.
You were legally not a kid.
I was legally not a kid.
Let's face it, you were kind of a kid.
Yeah. I remember playing Fable, and I think I really enjoyed them. I haven't touched them since. I haven't touched them in basically.
Neither is Peter Molyneux. Which is kind of the point, because that's the thing. It's like they have not been improved upon. They have not been helped along. Hey, Munchkin. I'm gonna have to bring my kid in at some point to a cameo.
All right. Bye, Munch.
Bye. Go play some Goat Simulator, you little weirdo. But these games are not improved on in any way, despite how much he promised. Like you said, No Man's Sky came back and said, "Yeah, you're right. This isn't exactly what we wanted. Let's keep building on it. Let's put our money where our mouth is." That is not the case. And a great example of that is I tried to play Fable: The Lost Chapters on Steam. It's the only one on Steam, and I tried to play it, but it has no game control support. It is you can only play with WASD and your mouse, which isn't that big of a deal, except this game is not meant to be played with a mouse and WASD, and I can't quite figure out how to remap it using some of these third-party things.
I'm fine with playing action RPGs or action games with WASD and a mouse. That's fine. I mean, a lot of times they're better suited. I feel like melee games specifically are better suited for controller. And it's like, because obviously a third person shooter, I'm fine with a mouse. Even preferred for my sake, because I feel like I'm more accurate. But yeah, Fable, I feel like that's.
The point is they adapted it to computers, to the PC for Steam's, and couldn't even be bothered to figure out how to map it on a controller, which is how it was originally played. They went out of their way. So there is no improvement made upon this. And all of this is to say that when I even noticed that there were Fable novels, I got a rotten feeling in my stomach where I was like, why is this a thing? I don't think a lot of people are crying out for the Fable world. They're just fun to play, right? So, and then that brought us to author, Christie Golden, who I believe you know.
Yeah, Christie Golden. This is her second book on the show. The first one was read by Sam. Sam and I read it as the first book that Phil was out for baby daddy leave.
Yes.
At the beginning of the year.
I was staring into the void. It was a beautiful time.
So yeah, Sam from Afterthoughts and myself, we read one of the World of Warcraft novels that Christie Golden wrote. Did not like it. We had a lot of very strong feelings about the book. And I think I covered a little bit of who Christie Golden was last time, but just to kind of refresh who she is, she's done like done a lot of genres. She's done a lot of work for hire, specifically in the gaming space. So one of the most interesting things, though, is that she was the first person to write a novel in the Ravenloft setting for TSR.
Oh, now that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she wrote, TSR, for those youngins out there, TSR was the original publisher of Dungeons and Dragons before it was a WotC / Hasbro product, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just let me tell you, TSR managed it just as well as Hasbro is right now.
Oh my God. Yeah. Don't let anyone tell you about the good old days when it came to TSR. It was a
Don't let
show.
anyone tell you that Dungeons and Dragons has ever been properly managed as
Never. Never.
Just always kind of throwing shit at the wall.
Yep.
Sometimes they make a lot of money suddenly. They don't know what to do with it. And then Hasbro's like, fuck it, fire half the people.
They're like
which
Florida.
they did last year. It was one of the biggest years of Dungeons and Dragons existence. That had the game of the year was Dungeons and Dragons. And a blockbuster film based on Dungeons and Dragons was released.
Great movie. A great movie.
It was a movie that was so good. If you haven't seen Dungeons and Dragons, what's the subtitle? Honor Among Thieves or something like that. Go see it. It's a really great.
You don't enjoy D&D to enjoy. It's a fun, funny movie. It's terrific. And
Chris Pine is just charismatic all over the goddamn movie.
That man is he is a heartthrob and a half. He is adorable. No, that's so
as the bard.
Because of course he is. So good. He's great.
He's great.
He's great.
Yeah.
And what did they do that year? They fucked up with the open game licensing.
They fuck up with the open game licensing. They end up having to let like a bunch of people go from both WotC and the D&D team. Like, anyway, Dungeons and Dragons is never been properly managed. Where the fuck was I? Christie Golden.
What are we talking about?
All right, so Christie Golden, TSR. She was a TSR author back in the early 90s for Ravenloft, and she's done a bunch of Star Trek books. She's done several Star Wars books, Fate of the Jedi series specifically, where the other authors were Troy Denning, who we've spoken with, and Aaron Alston, who is Aaron Alston, I think, is probably one of the names most synonymous with Star Wars novels. He has since passed away in 2014. But yeah, Aaron Alston was one of the, if you were talking about Star Wars novels, like Aaron Alston was one of the guys. I think he was also one of the contributors to Rogue Squadron. But yeah, so she's done a lot. She's written for Assassin's Creed, Ravenloft, StarCraft, World of Warcraft, and so it's wild that the first book I read of hers, for somebody who is just so widely experienced, first book I read, did not care for it at all. So far, spoilers, second book we've read, not caring for it so far. But we'll get into that tonight as Phil is taking the lead on this book.
Yeah, let's what do you say, Kevin? You and I put the body in the marsh.
Let's put the body in the marsh.
Let's do it.
Let's put the Balverine body in the marsh.
See?
Somebody walking a fucking dog in 3 feet of mud. What kind of fucking size of dog is that? That's a big fucking dog, man.
God damn it. I want to play this game again. It's actually a very fun game. I've got a TV over here and my Xbox 360 somewhere. I'm going to sit down.
Balverines are basically just they're like werewolverines.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. On a full moon, they drop down to 5 foot nothing and call you Bub.
They call you Bub.
Bub.
Suddenly they have cigar.
Yeah. So good. We love you, Wolvie. Fable, Edge of the World, Chapter 1. So we open with the King. That is what he is called, the King, because this is based on the character you played in Fable 3. They will not be giving the King a name. They will not be, and this kind of
holy shit! I did not notice that he didn't have a name.
No name.
How did I not pick that up?
I think probably because you already read Christie Golden, so you went into this with no hope whatsoever. I was still hoping. No, he has no name. This to me was kind of the first red flag. I don't find this to be a cute decision, not really. It just kind of it's my point earlier about how these games are great for envisioning yourself in the role, having a power fantasy.
Sure.
They're great for that kind of thing. And so the fact that this is just the King and is suddenly going to be talking, and it's like, honestly, for anyone who hasn't played Fable, this is basically tantamount to if you suddenly Link starts talking. He's got a point of view and shit, and it isn't just this kind of blank.
What do you mean? Link has always talked. You know,
he's always
Excuse me, princess.
Oh, we even covered that show.
We did.
Jeez, we have to go back to those.
We do.
So we open with the King and Jasper, who is his royal manservant, prepping for a wedding for the King. We get a huge exposition dump that tells us basically, it brings you up to speed on the final events of Fable 3. It is about 9 years since those events took place. You have this big war that happened, a revolution that your king / you led to overthrow his brother, to help fight against this. At first, you think the antagonist is your brother, who is a corrupt psycho or something.
Sure.
And then it becomes the darkness, the shadow thing, the night. And it's a kind of a bland big bad, it's just this living darkness that you have to fight in the end. But it's been 9 years since you came in and fought those people off and won. So we get up to speed there. Your loyal dog companion, which was a big deal in Fable 3, is there. He is getting old, but he's still the sweet.
He's still a sweet good boy, and he's the best character in this book.
He is easily the best character in this book, the most interesting, to say the very least. They discuss the fact that there's no sign of Reaver, who was kind of a quasi-antagonist in I think the second game too, but definitely the third game. He's basically this corrupt industrial magnate. Because in the first game, it was all fantasy. And by the second one, they started getting into this London industrial era.
Yeah. We've kind of moved on in time periods. And Reaver is he's also got the hero blood. But has that scene happened yet where the guy is just giving the whole spiel about hero blood, or is that not
really? But it's understood in the game. The hero, being a hero is something that's inherent to you. It's like being a mutant in X-Men.
Sure. Yeah,
you're able to, you have more potential. It's very vague. And Reaver's one of those people, and he used it for bad to basically make money and enslave children and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He is a piece of shit. Let's see. We get a moment where they're talking about happiness, and our king suggestively says, "I'll be much happier tonight." Gross. And we get our first weird sex comment, which honestly, I will give this to Golden. An uncomfortably juvenile sense of humor when it comes to sex is absolutely part and parcel of this franchise. I will say
yeah, that's perfect for this.
That's totally fine. We meet Ben Finn, who's the best man.
And all the comments, so by the way, are like, you know what happens on the wedding night. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like
over and over again.
It's like everybody's eyebrows waggled up and down.
Right. And if you've played Fable 3 and gotten through it and didn't have sex with some rando, I don't know what game you were playing. So the king knows. The king knows how to fuck. That's just a fact. We meet Ben Finn, who's the best man, former mercenary. We're going to get in these next couple of chapters a lot of just like fan servicey, kind of like, here are all your friends from the last game, and here's what happened to the people who died, and we get a somber moment of missing Walter Beck, who was basically the king's father figure, former advisor, taught him how to fight since he was a little boy, that sort of thing, and was killed by the darkness, the nightmare, in the third act of the last game. And we just meet all the other members of the congregation, who are basically just a smattering of characters from Fable 3. Some of them will be reused, some of them will not. For some of them, this is the last time you're going to see them. Here Comes the Bride starts playing, and Layla, the future queen, comes down the aisle. She's got the king on his knees. Layla. And
Phil just Claptoned.
I Claptoned in a non-racist way. Normally, Claptoning is a pretty racist thing.
Usually, it's a pretty racist thing, but
Clapton's a jackass.
I'm begging, darling, please.
But Layla is an eternal bop, so that's just all there is to it. I don't care which version, by the way. I don't care if it's Derek and the Dominoes or Unplugged. They're both amazing. Anyway, they both met during the war with the darkness. She's become best friends with Paige, who is a character from Fable 3, who's like a former resistance fighter who helped bring down the enemy. During the ceremony, a messenger comes for King Sabine, who is one of the guests there, and leaves. And as soon as they're married, the ceremony happens, you may kiss the bride, and Sabine immediately demands an audience with the king. So Layla, our now queen, insists on, well, if I'm going to be queen, I better be a part of it. So I'm just out here with the hors d'oeuvres. Yeah. So she joins them. Cut to chapter 2 in the war room. We get about 19 different forms of everyone saying, sorry, but you married a king. This is how it works, to Layla. And she's like, I'm fine. Yeah, I know. I'll give it to Layla. She's like, I know. I'm not pissed. I can't.
Yeah, chill.
Yeah,
we're fine.
You're just pouring salt in the wound here. I got it. King Sabine busts in. He's furious. He's joined by a new person that the king doesn't recognize, who seems to have PTSD. He's very shaky. He's got the 50-yard stare, that sort of thing. And the only thing we get from him at first is they are coming, which is, oh, so vague. Good job. Facebook in 2002 would have loved you. So it turns out he's from Samarkand, which is a land far, far. I don't know if it's to the east, but it's like that's where the title comes from. It's on the edge of the world. It's far away.
Samarkand, which is very, very Final Fantasy X coded. Zanarkand is the place in Final Fantasy X.
Well, Samarkand is also it's a city. It's an actual real life city in Uzbekistan, which I thought was interesting. And I've seen it referenced before. I don't know what that has to do with this, because because it's an entire kingdom. But yeah, the Samarkand, as this goes on, you find out it's like this exotic, faraway land. They're really
it's very close to it's very close to China. The because it's like Uzbek. It's the eastern border of Uzbekistan, and then it's like Tajikistan, and then China.
Yeah, it's and they're really trading in here on that kind of old fashioned like distant Orient mysteries and that kind of
from the Orient,
which is very old fashioned and problematic in its own way. But that's Fable. Fable is very
Fable's
much
got
old
some
English fairy tale kind of thing.
It's got that juice. Yeah, I just realized. Did you mention the prologue?
Oh, I don't think I mentioned the prologue.
Where this guy that's where this guy is that's where this guy comes from.
Yeah, I totally forgot it. I skipped this. I did not read the prologue. Kevin, why don't you let us in on the prologue? I skipped this.
So the prologue is this guy that Phil is talking about trying to get away from the darkness and he like watches his whole family has died and his sister is the only one left. And then his sister dies. And then he's in like a tent and like the people in the tent are like, oh no, you're fine. You were just about to fall, but we caught you. And they're climbing on a mountain. And then some darkness dudes come in and kill everybody in the tent. And they're like, no, but we have plans for this one. Cut to chapter 1.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I how with most books you get like 14 title pages and
sure.
Then you get to chapter 1.
You're flipping through and you got to chapter 1
and
you're
chapter
like
1 and
they're like fuck yeah. So okay. No, the darkness has plans for this guy, now he has arrived in the kingdom, telling them about the darkness.
Not feeling so good. He can't explain all of the feelings that they're making him feel. His heart's in overdrive, and you're behind the steering wheel because it's the darkness. And
it took me a second. I'm behind the steering wheel.
Oh man, that gives me that song. That song gives me such it triggers me because I used to work as a karaoke DJ, and I saw one guy do that song that I was like, holy shit, do that again. That was amazing. That almost anybody who wants to, it's just like Journey's Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah. You really got to have control over that falsetto to do any darkness songs. Yeah. You're touching me.
To quote Todd in the Shadows, 98% of falsetto is bad falsetto, and 98% of that 2% of good falsetto is also bad falsetto. So it's a motherfucker of a song.
Anyway, he believes in a thing called love.
He believes in a thing called love, even though it's not being shown to him in this moment. Yeah. Although they send him off to rest. They're like, this fucking kid is on his last legs. Let's send him off and get some rest. The king asks Sabine if his borders are safe, and Sabine is a total prick about it. In a passage I would like to read because I know you're a young king, but Jesus Christ, man. Safe. Sabine was practically jumping up and down. With everything that lad has said and more to come, take the cotton out of your ears and listen. They let him live to brag about themselves. Surely things darker than a teenage boy can cross the mountains. It's like, all right. Let's not forget I'm the king here. I'm not a fan of kings personally, but I don't know, man. I don't know if you.
Yeah, ACAB. All kings are bastards.
Yeah, exactly. But when one king screams at another one like this, it is kind of funny, I will say.
It is kind of funny.
Yeah. So they make a plan to go to Samarkand and leave the new queen, Layla, to rule the kingdom in his stead. So it's like, okay, cool. And then
They're
after
asking
all
her
of this,
to ease everybody's worried minds.
they're begging, darling, please, Layla. Um, now this is my favorite part of this chapter. After all this has been done, after you've got this shell-shocked kid, you've got a wedding interrupted, you've got a king yelling at another king, the potential of dead motherfuckers everywhere, and abandoning your new bride in a matter of days, probably. Then they just go back to the wedding reception.
Yeah.
I just, well, those shrimp cocktails aren't going to eat themselves.
I mean, we got a cake to cut, people. Let's,
yeah. And just as they get down there and have a little fun, it's interrupted again by the boy waking again, which leads me to wonder why this was put in. Why didn't you just have the boy keep talking? Like, you didn't have to have a moment of like, well, let him rest, and then like I recognize that in real life.
Yeah,
that's probably how it would go.
Right.
We don't need that.
We don't need the double beat.
It's such an unusual choice. And we gain nothing from it. And that cuts to chapter 3. The boy, we find his name is Sean. He is awake and eating chicken, and seems to be doing much better after his 12-minute nap.
It had to be like it was a real power nap. It was like
disco nap,
They get down there, they eat some, they eat a shrimp cocktail. Sean wakes up, takes a bump, and
pretty much, That's not any blow or it's so okay. He's doing better. He says he doesn't want to go back, but he's happy to tell them what he knows. We get this kind of meandering history of Samarkand and his life fucking story along with it, basically just going on and on. Basically gives them the idea that their emperor, who was a good emperor, married a mysterious masked woman and became cruel because of her, because when the pussy's good, you're willing to.
And don't forget that she had to wear the mask and had to hide away because if you looked upon her, you were just way too horny. You just had to have her.
This is the female version of the male character that every 14-year-old makes in his D&D game. They're like, how do I get 25 charisma?
Roll to seduce the dragon is basically
just, this is a lawful evil version of that. That's all. Although that's all kind of evil. So finally, the emperor dies and the empress takes over. And the emperor had gotten kind of cruel after he married her, but she makes the cruel emperor look like Daddy Warbucks. Balverines, which we mentioned before, start hunting people at night, and it's said that the empress calls to them. So we get the rundown. The adults leave to let Sean rest and presumably finish his chicken, and maybe sleep more than 12 minutes. The boy asks the king to leave a candle burning. He's still freaked out about the darkness. The king remembers Sir Walter's possession by the darkness. That's how he died. It actually is a pretty awful scene in the third game. He gets poured into by this living blackness, and it's pretty rough. And they have a big discussion here, deciding whether or not they should go ahead and kill this kid, because is he possessed by the darkness? Is he is this just a safe thing to do? And they decide ultimately that they're only going to do it if he proves to be possessed. And then the king and queen leave to fuck.
Finally, we've had fucking jokes,
Fucking jokes. We got, indeed we do, the king said, but no more work tonight. I can hear that the celebration is still in full swing downstairs. They're still partying. My lovely bride and I, however, will be retiring. Of course, Ben said with a straight face, our rulers need their rest. Absolutely, said the king. A great deal of rest. Very, restful rest. And lots of it. He's like, I haven't had a blowjob in 9 years.
And yeah, I think Layla is described as being really, really goddamn hot. So that's it's a Fable character. That's supposed to be somewhat like weirdly over-sexualized,
but also probably demanded to wait until the wedding night.
Yeah,
which would have been very appropriate for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, chapter 4. The queen wakes up and immediately makes it weird. Just immediately starts making sex jokes back to the king. It's not the morning yet. It's still the middle of the night. The king wants to show her something, and it ain't his penis for once. He takes her to a guild seal that he finds in the family catacombs. The guild seal in game is basically your fast travel. It's a device that you use to prove that you're part of the Heroes Guild, and you can use it to hop from one checkpoint to another. And he basically shows her how to use it as a teleportation to this secret sanctuary abode that he has.
Which is like one of the things I do know about Fable 3 is the convoluted pause menu.
Yes.
Did she write in the pause menu here? Is this what that is?
I didn't even think about that.
Is this the fucking pause menu?
It's so, if it is, then we need to give Christie Golden way more credit. Because that's some clever shit. I hadn't thought about that, and I can totally see it now. I can't unsee it. Oh, that's funny. We get a lot of moments in this chapter and beyond, actually, where the queen is wearing her inner monologue of basically her going, well, this is crazy, this is nuts, but she always kind of brushes it aside by saying something like, well, he's my husband, so of course it must be safe, which is a bad theory for anybody.
Really bad theory. That's not a great assumption,
No. They explain fast travel a little more, and then Jasper shoos them off to fuck a few more times before the sun comes up.
The sun.
The sun, the king and the boner. That's actually that was the running working title of this book for a while. The Sun,
the King and the Boner. It was C.S. Lewis, actually, that was found in a manuscript and in his little Narnia series, The Sun, the King and the Boner.
The Screw Tape Letters were a very different book originally, is all I'm saying. He was a horny son of a bitch, a horny Anglican. Is there any other kind? That'll do for our literary joke.
Hey.
That worked out.
Yeah, good old CS. He was not a fan of. Was it C.S. Lewis that did not like Tolkien?
No, they were friends.
Or did not like The Hobbit originally? No, they were friends. I feel like Lewis did not like The Hobbit, like as a book.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
My wife is currently reading through the entire series of those books, the Narnia books. She's reading them to our son, and they couldn't be more different from the Hobbit. And
in terms of takes on fantasy, they are very different.
Very different.
They're both clobbered with Christianity, just absolutely gobsmacked with like Jesus.
Right. I will say, I found it. I've been listening in every now and then, and it is funny. It has kind of you can tell. J.K. Rowling probably got a lot of inspiration from these books. There's a lot of that.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling does like to read, the classics, your Lewis's, your Tolkien's, your Hitler's.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's face it, C.S. Lewis probably wouldn't have been a big fan of trans folks either. We don't know.
Although,
you know what, though?
Maybe.
Mr. Tumnus screams envy.
He does scream envy.
So...
But I don't. Just continuing in the long historical tradition of British authors being terrible.
British people being terrible. It's part of their history. And I know because I'm an American, it's part of my history too. I'm Southern.
I learned it from watching you, Dad.
I'm a Southerner who was born and raised in Germany. I know about cultures that have iffy histories. I say that. And I can any undue criticism.
And I can at the very least claim that my Irish family came over because of the potato famine. So, yeah.
I'm gonna get re-equipped here.
Re-equipped. You have got Happy
Pineapple
Dad.
Happy Dad. Slancha. So we cut to chapter 5. We meet, well, not meet, but we're dealing with Ben, who is one of the officers there, and Timmons, who is the captain of the guard. These are also both former Fable 3 characters. They have approached the town of Blackholm. They meet up with Russell, who is the Lord Mayor, who used to be this young kind of he's grown. Like, that's the idea. He was this young, untested buck during the game, and now he's grown into this great leader of men and all that. Ben, you find out Ben lost his brother here. There was a great attack of half-breeds that attacked the city. It's kind of it's implied. It's kind of Balverine-ish. I forget.
Yeah,
what
I think
exactly.
I think it's supposed to be Balverines.
Yeah, and he lost his brother here, so there's some sad notes there.
Yeah.
They explain that they're looking for recruits to take with them to go and fight the darkness over in Samarkand, and eventually Russell reluctantly agrees. Meanwhile, the king is running his own recruitment drive. They don't call it a draft, but it feels very draftish.
I'm not gonna lie.
Feels drafty. Sean has stayed behind to help with more information on his homeland because they really don't know jack shit about Samarkand. So he can be very helpful in that sense to help with culture shock and whatnot. He's basically become a fixture among the king and the court. Everyone likes him. The guards all kind of look out for him. Everyone knows what he's been through, and they're all veterans of fighting with this horrible darkness thing. So they all kind of feel sorry for him. 6 weeks later, the fleet that they have been prepping for Samarkand is ready to sail. And
what's the time jump again?
6 weeks.
6 weeks. Okay. Yeah.
6 weeks. We cut to the final dinner the night before they're going to leave. Everyone kind of reaffirms their dedication to the cause. And Sean decides ultimately, you know what? I'm not afraid anymore, or I am afraid, but I'm going to go with you anyway, which is going to help them a lot. We get a big procession the next day out in the streets as they leave. The king and queen and the court are all in this big parade in front of the peasantry who are, throwing flowers and cheering for them and whatnot, which is a big part of Fable. When you start to get famous enough, it's kind of hilarious. You get famous, your reputation goes up, and peasantry will stop and start cheering for you out of nowhere and clapping and stuff. And you'll just be trying to work on something, and you'll hear "Yay!" clap, 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 and you go, "What the fuck?" And you turn around, it's this random townsperson going "Yay!" It's so strange, but that's basically what they're doing. The king's going to have to leave Rex, the dog, behind, which is the responsible thing to do. That good boy has put in his time, and he took a bullet for him at the end of Fable 3. Spoilers.
Sweet boy.
Yeah, he's a good boy. So he's just going to stay behind and be at the queen's side while he's away. The king and the queen share a kiss, and everyone around them does their best impression of a TV studio audience from 1991. Literally, he kisses her, and Ben goes, "Yes!" And you can just feel everyone going, "Ooh!"
Did you guys fuck?
It's horrifying. It's really bad. The ship sails, and the queen is left watching them go, silently hoping that her king will return. Chapter 6. The ship is decked with constant storms. It's cold and miserable, and the king and his party below decks discuss their plans, which we got right here. Over here to the west is your dweller town of Mist Peak, Sean said. These are the Blade Mountains that I crossed. A shadow passed over his face for a moment, but he continued. The mountains embrace Samarkand on 3 sides, west, north, and east. The south is the shoreline of our country. We will make landfall at Fairwinds, a very wealthy port, then follow the main trade route as directly as possible to Zahadar, which is here. He tapped the northeast corner of the map. And this is this is where I started thinking, right now, we're a third of the way through the book. Those of you at home might recognize that not much has happened yet.
Yeah, we got some. The king got married, and it got interrupted, and he had sex.
And that's about it.
And
a lot of talk. People have been doing a lot of talking about what's going to happen next. And and we get even more topographical lowdown. I cut that off. I cut that like in half. There was even more like, and over here is this on the map, and over here is that.
And then we do this thing, and then
right. And it's like, we're not gonna do all this shit, right? You don't. This is not a thick book. We don't have a lot of room. And what is this for? It's very weird. A soldier accuses Sean of being possessed by the shadows, and he is reprimanded by the king. Meanwhile, the queen is getting sword training from Paige.
That's
it's going
right.
as well. Yeah, it's going as well as you could expect. She's not very good at this. Paige briefly mentions fighting in the arena alongside the king, which was a big. I want to say all of the Fable games had a big gladiatorial level, and they were always a really fun point in the game, and it was just like a giant boss rush, and it was a lot of fun. And the third one was no different, and Paige is with him at that point. Timmons approaches to test our new queen, and he's pretty intense about it. He's very intense. Yeah, he's got like prepper vibes.
He does. He has Clancy Brown from Starship Troopers vibes.
Yes, like he kicks her ass. He doesn't take it easy on her. She's in the dirt.
Honestly,
bleeding.
He would be played by Clancy Brown.
Probably. That would be good. Yeah, that would be a good choice.
Yeah.
No, he just really kicks her ass and doesn't allow for anything else. And Paige chastises him. Layla goes for a bath and wonders at how bad of a fighter she is, and hopefully she won't have to use that, basically. The Page chases down Timmons. Paige chases down Timmons and chews him out, but admits that there is a lot on the line. And Timmons basically says, make no mistake, I'm going to stay on top of her with this stuff because just a little mistake could cost her life. And the king just started fucking her, and we don't want to upset him. He's going to really look forward to having sex with her when he comes back. And that's the end of that chapter. And that's where that's a third of the book. That is a third of the book. So, Kevin, what do you think so far?
So far, super boring. Not a fan of this first third here. We're not doing anything, which at the risk of sounding repetitive, that's the same thing that happened in the World of Warcraft book that we wrote by her, where
interesting.
There was just like there were things happening, but our protagonist was like, well, I wish I could do something about it.
And then nothing.
Big case of the Nick Carraways over here.
Very much so. Yes, absolutely. It's so strange. It's boring as hell. It doesn't really have anything going on. Like, why are we doing this?
Why are we taking so long to get to this place? Why can't we get to it? Why can't we get to the shit? Right.
Right.
Set the stakes and go, buddy.
And there was a lot of shit that happened in the Fable games. There was a lot of talking and stuff that happened, but it always clipped along. And so there are aspects of this that feel Fable-y, like I said, like the kind of, sixth grade version of sex humor. That feels appropriate. But it's so dull. And we don't even have the only, hello Ripley, the only fight, Jesus Christ, the only fight we've had in this entire thing has been a sparring match between the Queen and during training.
Yeah.
Like, we've gotten nothing. So yeah, we got
nothing.
Dull. We got nothing.
There's some more. I read ahead a little bit, and there's some stuff coming up, but it's also not like, it's like way too far into the book for any of the stuff that's coming up to just be happening now.
Every single thing that happened in this whole third of the book could have been covered in a first chapter that's the same length as the first chapter of this book.
Yeah.
It could have been covered very, very easily. This one, I get the impression based on her resume that Christie Golden is a very good writer.
Sure. I would like to read literally anything else by her.
Right.
Because I didn't like World of Warcraft, the World of Warcraft book at all, which was Rise of the Horde. I think it was, not my favorite, and not my tempo. I get
the impression that this is a car payment for her. This was not like, this wasn't.
Yeah. The other thing I'm not a huge fan of is stylistically, Christie Golden seems to really fucking love adverbs.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Just really loves the adverb so much. And they so much that they get a little distracting in the prose.
Mm-hmm.
Like sipped greedily is something that happened a bunch of times in the World of Warcraft book, and I'm already at my sipped greedily quote count is up to 1, and it should be 0.
It should be 0.
It should be 0.
Yeah.
Choose a better verb, gulped or something. Don't sip greedily. I'm not totally against adverbs. Just the amount of adverbs and the way where they're being used, just at a basic level, it suddenly I shouldn't be thinking about them.
Right. There was a friend of ours in film school. She was a sound designer and who once told me that the point of being a good sound designer is that no one should notice that you've done anything. And I feel like that there's a lot to that with writing, and there's a lot to that with any creative endeavor. It's making it look easy. And if you're being dragged out of it by adverbs, that's not great. That's really not great.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I still, I that all being said, I would still love to read another book by hers that's a little bit more, maybe critically acclaimed or what have you, just because so far 1 1/3 of the way into 2 books, I'm not having a good time.
It feels padded, and the book is 210 pages. So,
really? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a short book.
It's a short book.
That's why it felt like I was moving really quickly. I was like, oh
yeah. That's why I picked this one. I picked this one specifically after our last book. Because I was like, we need something breezy.
Something that probably could have been handled in an afternoon at the beach.
Exactly. We need a beach read. This one. There was another Fable book I was going to read, and then I noticed that it was 400 pages long, and I went, no, we're not going to read that one.
We're not going to do that.
Let's do something. Which makes me even more curious about the other one. Which was not I don't.
Which I think is referred to. They mentioned the Balverine stuff a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it might have something to do with that. I'm not sure.
Well, the title is something about the Balverine.
The Balverine Order.
Yes, that's it. So we'll have to get to that one eventually.
Yeah.
Okay, but now that we've done that, Kevin, I have one final question for you.
Yes.
What are you playing?
Ooh, I never thought you would ever ask me that.
Why would you? That would be silly and strange for you to assume I was going to ask that question. It would make no sense whatsoever.
Okay, so what have I been playing? Alone in the Dark, and I beat it. Yeah, I beat Alone in the Dark. Yeah, it's like a 7 out of 10 Resident Evil game.
Okay.
It's definitely so it's got some fun puzzles. It's more you think it's going to be more Resident Evil-y than it is. And when I say Resident Evil, I mean like in the remakes and the originals, especially in the first 3, you had these big areas. Well, more specifically, the first 2. Let's use remake 2 as an example. You have the police station, and you're going back and forth through the police station. You're solving puzzles, and you're dealing with stuff. And Resident Evil Remake 2 is such a fucking good game.
It is so good. I would happily sit down and play that one again. That is so good.
So you're going around the police station. Alone in the Dark. This is a remake of the first Alone in the Dark game. And the first Alone in the Dark game is kind of what sets the template. That and Sweet Home are kind of the things that set the template for the Resident Evil franchise, right?
Yeah.
It uses the fixed camera angles. It was a PC game, so it had a little bit more raw power to do the fully like more of a fully rendered deal rather than like the pre-rendered backgrounds that Resident Evil ultimately goes with. But that being said, the original Alone in the Dark, you watch a playthrough of that, it's like, oh, this is very much like it looks and feels like the original Resident Evil, but it's got more point and click vibes as opposed to straight, like action game vibes.
There's much more of a adventure game quality.
Yeah, more of an adventure game quality. So the remake of Alone in the Dark it basically comes in a world now where, we've had the remake of RE4 and the remake of RE2, and we are very locked into that style. It uses the floating over the shoulder camera of the remakes instead of the fixed camera angles. It's a lot more action game focused. There are a lot of puzzles to solve, but it's a lot more linear than a Resident Evil than you would expect a game of that heritage to be, because, and it hides it very well. Like, you're going back and forth around the mansion. But that being said, there's then you're using this talisman to travel to other realms, and then these realms are basically linear levels where you're going around and you're solving a puzzle and doing a combat thing, and then you go back to the mansion to do the next bit to get the next talisman thing to go into the new level. So it's like, it's linear, it just hides it underneath the veneer of being more of that old school Alone in the Dark and old school Resident Evil exploring functionality, exploring gameplay. That being said, it's fun. It's a little bit buggy. There's a number of times I had to reload just because my character got caught on a plane that was not the floor.
Oh, God. Okay, sure.
Like I hit the dodge button and somehow that accidentally put my character on top of a crate. And now I'm on the crate level, so I could go and walk on the crates, but I can't get back down to the floor. But like saving the game and reloading it just popped your character back onto the floor.
Okay.
It's fine.
So at least it solves the problem easily enough.
Yes. The game is very Lovecraft. And what's funny is this Lovecraftian god, What's funny is I don't even feel comfortable saying the god's name once I realized that it was like, oh, Lovecraft just created a god and slipped the N-word right in the middle of the pronunciation.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
You know which one I'm talking about. Shub.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to say it because I know who Lovecraft was, and that's what he did. He just goddamn put the N-word in the middle of this god's name because you say it the same way.
That's who he was. That's who he was.
So I'm not doing it. Fuck you.
Yeah. Not gonna play your little game.
I'm not gonna play your HP. Get out of here. But anyway, it looked cool.
Yeah, sure.
Looked cool. Was one of the most annoying boss fights I've ever had in a game. So yeah, 6.5, 7 out of 10. Nice. It will easily, depending on the number of 2024 releases I play, it will easily not make my top 10. Like it will be the game that falls off the top 10. Like it's on the top 10 for now, just by default.
But that's just because it's April. So
that's just because it's April. So we'll see how that goes.
Nice.
And then so the other thing it does, it quote unquote has 2 campaigns, but it doesn't really. So there's Emily and Carnby, the detective, and they are, with the exception of a couple of levels, some of those like individualized levels that I talked about, it's almost entirely the same. Now, had it been like you're doing the talisman stuff with the girl, and then you're doing other stuff where you're like uncovering the truth about the cult with the detective, more like the original Resident Evil 2, that would have been kind of cool, but it's not. So I started playing.
I immediately thought of Resident Evil 2 when I saw. I
started playing the detective, and I was like, "Oh, this is a lot of the same stuff so far." So I'm not too into replaying it all. But yeah, so Alone in the Dark, finished that up. Next on my list is I think I'm gonna go with the Thaumaturge.
Nice.
Which is
that looks fun. That looks interesting.
Yeah, that looks like it could be interesting. And probably more Balatro. You know, I know Local Thunk is going to be dropping a patch soon with some fun little tweaks and changes. A couple of the cards, a couple of the Jokers are getting their abilities reworked and all that fun stuff. So
nice. Okay.
But that's what I've been playing. Phil, what have you been playing?
I got Balatro, obviously. I've been playing more Pacific Drive. I'm getting further into the storyline of that one, because that is built to just do side quests forever if you want. So I'm trying to make a concerted effort to get through those the single player mode. You know, there's the single player mode, but you know what I mean? Just the the levels, the quests. And I think the thing that this game has going for it more than anything else is I've never been more frustrated when I fail in one of these missions, because I've worked so hard to get my car up to snuff and everything like that, and then I fail and I barely take anything home at the end of it. But I'll like take a break, probably play a couple of hands of Balatro, and then I will come back and I'll give it another go. At no point have I actually thought to myself, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. Right. It's more challenging than I expected, but yeah, that's still going strong. I did finish a game called Little Guardsman, and knowing my history with games, I know what you're thinking, and no, this is not a junior 40K game with a name like Little Guardsman. It is a kind of cute twee sort of. I like to think of it as like baby's first Papers, Please.
Okay.
It's you're in this vague comedy medieval world, and you are a 12-year-old girl, the daughter of a guard who runs a guard tower, and it's kind of grim actually. There's some Angelus Ashes aspects to it, where your dad's like, you play it for fun, but like the dad's clearly like got like a gambling problem and stuff.
Sure.
goes off to bet on the ponies, and you're sitting there like doing his job for him.
Right.
It's not as tense or Soviet for that matter as Papers, Please, but a lot of the aspects, the gameplay is the same. You start every day and you'll get like a lowdown of here's what you should watch out for, here's what you should do, here's who we want, and you've got all kinds of different tools you can use to determine whether you want to let somebody in or not. I accidentally became a goblin racist because I was just trying to follow the rules. I was a little kid trying to keep my dad in a job, and so when they told me if a goblin comes in, you throw him in jail, no questions asked, no matter what, I said okay because I didn't want my daddy to go away. And
Sure.
I was trying to help bring some money into this family, and I became a goblin racist as a result.
Wow.
I think we've all been there.
We've all been there.
We've all been there. It's fun. It's cute. It's got more adventure game quality to it than Papers, Please, for example. The interstitial moments have a lot of old point and click aspects to them. It's funny. It's got a really good sense of humor. It's got a good art design. I wonder who it's for. Because when I started playing it, I immediately thought, oh, Kevin needs to play this with his kid. Because it starts out very warm and funny, but also kid friendly and stuff. And then about a third of the way through, they start dropping, 4-letter words and shit.
Okay.
It's like, oh, okay. And it's not bad. It's not, they never do anything untoward or anything, but it's like, and I'm sure you wouldn't give a shit.
Right.
But some people out there like might start playing this game and be like, oh,
they might have an issue.
Yeah, this will be a fun game I can play with my kid. And then like halfway through, they're like, oh, what the fuck, guys? It does a little bit of a bait and switch. It didn't bother me because it was just me, but fair warning. That one was released this year. I haven't heard anything about it, and it popped up on one of my suggestions things. And I was like, this looks really cute. And I enjoyed it. There are multiple endings. There are multiple ways you can finish it. It's got all those kind of little customizations.
Sure.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was cute.
Yeah.
So little guardsman. I also played Buckshot Roulette.
I saw. Who did I see play this?
This is what a lot of people have been playing.
I saw. Was it Super Eye Patch Wolf? I saw him play it on stream.
This is for those of you who have never played this. This is it just came onto Steam. It was on itch.io for a while. This is one of your great one-person designed games, PS1 style graphics, muddy. There's something very snuff film about it. There's nothing graphic in the game, despite its subject matter.
Well, little gremlin dude is something about him.
You feel very uncomfortable. You go into this back room in a club, and you play Russian roulette with a shotgun against this strange, sharp-toothed little gremlin guy. It's got very Inscription vibes in that sense, where you've got that looming face. And you get certain items. You find out how many blanks and how many live rounds are in the shotgun, but you don't know what order they've been loaded in. And so you eventually unlock certain items that can help you get an upper hand. And they've got a double or nothing mode, which is basically an endless mode. There's not much to it, but it's a $2 game, so who gives a shit?
Sure.
And I kind of love it. There's something so grim. And again, for a game where, I mean, it is kind of shocking, I will say, when you choose you can choose to shoot the dealer or you can shoot yourself based on what you think is in the shotgun. And there is something very grim about playing a video game
it's
where you put
like
a shotgun to your own head.
Yeah, if it's a blank, you get another turn or something like that.
Yeah, you skip the dealer's next turn. And if it's a shell, you get a shell in the face, and you have a certain amount of health. They bring you back with,
with video game magic.
Video game magic, and presumably a lot of drugs. I like any game where a Lucy cigarette gives you 1 health back. I appreciate the irony of that. It's a grim, strange little game.
Yeah.
And there's not much to it. That's the thing. Like Balatro, for example, is a simple ass game, but you can play it forever. Because there are so many different modes and so many things to overcome. And presumably, I would think this guy's going to come up with more. But this is a game that you can basically see the entirety of it in less than an hour.
Sure.
With a little bit of luck and that sort of thing. And it's $2, and it's kind of on my Game of the Year list right now.
That's awesome.
I've just never seen a game like this before. It's so muddy and dark and grim, and I give them all the credit in the world just for the atmosphere.
When I saw it, it did feel like very much the first level of Inscription.
Yes,
in the cabin. It had that vibe.
Yeah, and I applaud it. It's there's not much to it, but again, you're not paying $20 for this. It's a couple of dollars. It's worth it. I highly recommend go pick it up. I'm sure most people listening to this have heard of this one because this one seems to be out everywhere right now.
It's popped up on a bunch of streamers channels.
But you know me, I'm a real sucker for indie games with a grim atmosphere that have been designed by usually one person. Iron Lung comes to mind, stuff like that.
Which
I love.
By the way, I think the Iron Lung movie is got to be out this year, I assume, right?
Probably, right? Like, you told me that's a short, right? That's not a feature length.
No, I'm pretty sure it's a feature length.
How? How do they make a feature length? Okay, I'll watch it.
I'll watch. I mean, the first teaser trailer came out last year, or the first trailer came out. I saw that. Yeah. And it's just Mark. It's directed by Markiplier. And starring him. He's
starring it. Yeah.
And it's just him emerging from a pool of blood, which. Fun fact, after he did that shoot for where he's like completely covered in this blood, he had to go to the hospital because it like got in his eyes and like behind his eyes, like the blood stuff just like got in there. So his eyes were just like red for weeks.
It was flushed out, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll watch it. I mean, the worst thing that happened, you give the nicest guy on the internet $10. Fuck it.
It's like fine. We'll give you some money. We'll watch the movie. He's
one of the only people on the internet I like. So
he could be better than it could be. If it's better than the FNAF movie, then
it will be. I don't see how it.
I'll give it credit for not being FNAF. I'll give it credit for being his first like real foray. I mean, he's done short film stuff before, but his first foray into like feature filmmaking is a one-shot Dave Zemansky game that Dave just like made like by himself in between doing other stuff.
That's a worthy goal. It's worthy source material.
Yes.
Very cool stuff.
Very cool.
So that's what I've been playing.
Awesome. Well, that'll do it for tonight's episode. If you want to follow along, follow us, go to a social media of choice and find us at PixelatPod. And that's including Patreon. You can follow us for free on Patreon and you'll get all the relevant updates on there. Or on our Discord, which you can find on Patreon as well. Type at PixelatPod into the search of your favorite social media, click on it, and it should take you to us, or take us to you. However,
depending on how you look at it.
Depending on how you look at it, so that'll do it for tonight. Don't fall over the edge of the world. Because it's the name of the book.
That's the book we're reading. You guys, I think they got it.
I think they got it.
Yeah, they probably got it.